Please be seated. Please remove all that silent cell phones and please conversation. We'll call the court to order at this time. My name is Matt Rothy. I'm the Stoughton Municipal Judge that covers the city of Stoughton, towns of Dunkirk, Pleasant Springs, and Rutland. I'd like to go through some of the procedures we follow in the courtroom. These procedures are set forth on the form that was made available to you as you enter the courtroom. We take people on a first come, first served basis. When your case is called, please come forward. It's plea night tonight, so your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. If you enter a no contest or guilty plea, I'll review your citation. If there's a factual basis, I'll find you guilty and impose an appropriate forfeiture. A plea of no contest is similar to a guilty plea, but a conviction arising from a no contest plea cannot be used against you in a later civil action. Let me explain that. Say if you're involved in a traffic accident and you receive a citation for that. If you enter a no contest plea, the person can't use a no contest plea against you if they decide to sue you for damages later. So if you're ever in doubt between a no contest or a guilty plea, a no contest plea is always a safer plea. The forfeiture ranges from $20 to $1,000. However, almost all are within the $50 to $200 range. The state mandates we add costs to your forfeiture. For example, a $50 forfeiture will result in a total fine to you of $124. I'll grant you 30 days to pay the fine. If you need additional time, please let me know, or please tell me, we can arrange a payment plan. Because if you don't pay, I just have limited options to collect. I can suspend your driver's license for a year. I can have state collection services try to basically seize your debt for me. I'd rather not do that. I can intercept your taxes, etc. I'd rather not do that. If you just need additional time, let me know, and we can work out a payment plan. If you plead not guilty, we'll set your case over to the next court date on April 3rd for a pretrial conference. I always order pretrial conferences. It's a phone conference you have with the prosecutor to see if you can resolve the case. If you can resolve it, the prosecutor reports the results back to me, and I almost always approve them. It's a chance to tell your side of the story so you can discuss how to resolve the case with the prosecutor. If you can't resolve the case, it comes back to me for a trial. I hear basically facts and evidence. I hear testimony from both sides, and I render my decision. Those of you here facing traffic offenses should understand that you lose demerit points upon conviction for most such offenses. If you lose 12 or more points in any 1 year period, you lose your license to drive in Wisconsin for a certain period of time. You will also be fined. I'd like you to be aware of some of your rights before deciding on a plea. You have the right to ask for a continuance. This means that you can request that your case be set over for another time, either to consult with a lawyer or for some other reason. This is a civil court. You're not entitled to a public defender, but you may hire an attorney at your own cost. You also have a right to a trial. Please remember your rights when considering your plea. Those of you charged with or cited for operating motor vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant are entitled to request a jury trial in the circuit court upon payment of proper fees. All our cases will be heard in my courtroom with the right to appeal my ruling to circuit court. That concludes my opening remarks. At this time, I will take the first person here, who was Larry Wafler. All right. Mr. Wafler, if you could press the button on that way with a... Is it on? Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can tell that the red light is on. Mr. Wafler, do I have your correct address on Blue School Road in Fenimore?
Yes, 13.
Right. You received a citation for driving on a bicycle lane or way. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 2 demerit points issued your driver's license. Do you understand what the elements are for driving on a bicycle lane or way?
Yes.
Okay. You don't need me to review the statute with you or the ordinance?
No.
Okay. So this is a $98.80 forfeiture. That's $30 plus costs. Let me review the range of this citation, which I can go up or go down depending on the circumstances. So it's under 346.94. So it's actually $20 to $40. So you're right in the middle of a very narrow range. You understand that as well?
Yep.
All right, and it's 2 demerit points issued to your driver's license. So now, there's some citations which require a mandatory DOT course. It's usually for failure to yield. Let me make sure that your citation is among them, and it is not. So the penalties would be 2 points, forfeiture of $98.80. Do you have any procedural questions for me?
No. not
Okay,
proceed-
now is the time that I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
No contest.
You understand that with no contest plea, if there's a factual basis, the police report that I must find you guilty, do you understand that?
Yes.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay, I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. I'll accept your no contest plea and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on the sentence?
Yes.
Okay,
I'd like to comment on the accident. The
okay,
bus.
go ahead.
I was going north on Page Street, heading towards the American Legion.
Okay,
After it happened, the police interviewed me and asked me if I had passed the bicycle going down the hill. And I said, I don't think so. Don't remember. So anyway, the bicyclist called me then on Wednesday after the accident on the 6th and told me his conditions and how he was. So I asked him, I said, did I pass you going down the hill? And he said, no. He said, you were ahead of me. But he said, on that day there was a strong wind. And he says, going down that hill, and with the wind behind me, he says, I was gaining on you pretty fast.
okay,
And as I approached the American Legion, I know I checked my mirrors and put my signal on, and I had to cross the bike lane.
right,
I did that. There was nothing behind me at that time.
right,
And as I turned in, and I was crossing the bike lane and going into the parking lot, and he hit me. I asked him on the phone, I said, couldn't you have slowed and avoided me? And he says, no, I was going so fast that when I hit the brakes, I just slid.
right, right.
And he said there was no correcting.
Right.
So I think the bicycle speed had quite a bit to do with
Okay.
being hit.
But you've entered a no contest plea, and I found you guilty for that. So
Okay.
pedestrians always have the right of way. But thank you for
Yes.
that. Thank you for telling me that. So you always have to be extra careful when checking your blind spots and et cetera. So how is your driving record?
Good.
Okay, so
no.
2 points. Most moving violations are between 3 and 6 points. So you're a little bit below that as well. But I will reduce this from $30 to the minimum of $20. So the total forfeiture would be $86.20. So instead of what did I tell you before? Instead of the $98.80, so I'll knock it down to the lowest possible fine, which would be $86.20.
Okay.
Now, how much time do you need to pay the $86.20?
Right now.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days, but I'll give you the form. What you can do is you can take that down to the dispatch window with the new forfeiture of $86.20. You can make payment at the dispatch window, and that should take care of it then.
Thank you.
Okay, once you receive the disposition order, that will take care of it for this evening then. Thank you. Adrian Vika? Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Mr. Vika, do I have your correct address on 2301, or I'm sorry, just in Lincoln Avenue in Stoughton?
Yep.
All right. You've been cited for speeding on a city highway 1619 over the limit. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 4 demerit points issued your license. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
Yep.
All right. So this is $124. It's $50 plus cost. The forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. So you're at the low end of the scale, but not quite at the minimum. You understand it as well?
Yep.
Okay. In addition, so if I've spoken to the prosecutor about speeding cases, and if you were to enter a not guilty plea, the prosecutor automatically gives a 10-mile-an-hour leeway, and I do too. To expedite matters, I always make sure I can give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway to the defendant. So instead of 16 to 19 over, I offer it will be 1 to 9 over. Be 3. So instead of 4 points, it'd be 3 points, same forfeiture, $124. Do you understand the 10-mile-an-hour leeway?
I understand.
Okay. Any procedural questions for me?
Nope.
All right. Now's the time I take your plea. What would your plea be? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty to speeding, 1 to 9 over?
No contest.
You understand with no contest plea, I must find you guilty?
Nope.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. I reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis. I'll accept your no contest plea and find you guilty to speeding, 1 to 9 over, 3 demerit points, total forfeiture of $124. How much time do you need to pay?
I don't know.
30 days be sufficient?
I don't even have money to pay my rent anymore.
Okay. I tell you what, I'll extend it out to 60 days, and if you need additional time, you can call my clerk and then set up a time where you can come back in and ask for more time.
So I appreciate it.
Anything else you want to tell the court?
Nope.
All right. If you want to wait around, I can give you the disposition for that, and then once you receive that, that will take care of it for this evening. Ashley Ross. Just a minute, Ms. Ross. Ms. Ross, do I have your correct address on Jackson Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
You've been cited for operating motor vehicle without insurance. The citation carries a penalty of $124. That's 50 and 0 demerit points. That's $50 plus costs. The forfeiture range on this is either between $0 and $200. So you're not the minimum, but you're at the lower end of the scale as well. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand what operating motor vehicle without insurance is?
Yes.
Were you able to obtain insurance?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of your proof of insurance?
It's on my phone.
Okay. Do you want to show the phone to the bailiff? I'll take a look at it.
I just want to side note that that car was totaled. It was like a real bad snowstorm that day, and it kind of like.
Oh, wait, so you got insurance, but then it was totaled at a later date?
No, like it was totaled that day, and then the car company actually just went to the toll place and took the car.
Okay.
So like I was out of a car for like a month, and then I got me a new car.
Okay.
And I got insurance. But I also want to put that I've been with Progressive
Hang on, stop.
Okay.
So I'm just here to take a plea tonight. So the reason why I'm saying that is you kind of explained the whole case for this. There's no prosecutor here, so if you tell me about the facts of the case, a lot of times then I have to recuse myself, and you have to go do another court. But let me paraphrase this a little bit. The car that you got no insurance for was totaled. You have a new car, and then you have insurance on the new car.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to show that form of insurance to the bailiff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then if you swipe just to the side once, then you'll see my previous insurance that I had. But that was on the old car. It kind of lapsed and everything like that.
Okay, so since you provide, well,
I'm so sorry, but I just got a job driving, literally.
hang
and
on, I just need to think about this for a minute then, so.
Okay.
You know, so the goal of this is, provide insurance, and you did that. So based upon you meeting the court's goal of having insurance, the court on its own motion moved to dismiss the citation then, so. they won't-
Thank you.
Yeah, so you won't have any forfeiture for that, and just make sure that you have, well, you've already showed me you have insurance on the next car. So I'll give you that dismissal notice in just a minute then, so.
Thank you.
Okay. Caitlin, her. Ms. Hurd, do I have your correct address on Eagle Road in Janesville?
Yes.
All right. You've been cited for failure to yield a right-of-way in a roundabout. This citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and Florida merit points issued your driver's license. Do you understand what failure to yield a right-of-way in a roundabout is?
Yes.
All right. So it's Florida merit points. It's under violation of 346.18. So you're at $30 plus cost. Let me tell you the range on this. Okay. It's $20 to $50, so you're kind of in the middle of a narrow range. You understand that? Is that a yes?
Yes.
So we're being recorded, so if I make a mistake and you need to appeal my decision, you want to make sure that we have a clear record. So whenever I answer questions, the record won't pick up when you nod or shake your head. So, but that was, you did understand it, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, in addition to that, this is a failure to yield citation. Let me check. And it is listed. So if you're found guilty of this failure to yield the right-of-way in a roundabout citation, if you're found guilty of that citation, what will happen then is you'll get a notice from the Department of Transportation that you have to take a failure to yield class. It's mandatory, and if you don't take it, your license will be suspended. So if you're found guilty, it's nothing that this court can do, but it's something that you would have to face as a requirement to keep your license. You understand that?
Yep.
Okay. In addition, do you have a probationary license?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want you to be aware of that on your second citation thereafter, your point totals double. So although this is 4 points, if this is your second citation, the point totals will double to 8. If this is your first citation, it will stay at 4, but the next citation you receive will actually, the point totals double. And you can't accumulate more than 12 in a year. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I've explained the citation. Do you understand that you don't need to read the elements, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Told you about the forfeiture, the points, and the fine rates. Any procedural questions for me?
No.
All right. Now is the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Not guilty.
Okay. Well, not guilty plea, we'll schedule the matter for pretrial conference with the city attorney on April 3rd. I'll give you the notice in just a minute. Make sure that you make that phone call, because if you don't speak to the prosecutor or forget about the phone call and don't speak to the prosecutor, I'll find you default, I'll find you guilty, and you will be facing a forfeiture $98.80, Florida merit points, and you'll have to take that DOT class. So make sure that you appear. Tell the prosecutor a chance to tell your side of the story, so tell them what other facts or witnesses might help your case as well. And if you're able, like I said in the introductory comments, if you're able to resolve it, the prosecutor will report the results to me, and as long as they're reasonable, I approve it. If you can't reach a resolution, it comes back to me for a trial. So,
Okay.
all right. Once you receive the pretrial conference notice, they'll take care of it for this evening then.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Carlos Vargas Chavez. Yeah. Mr. Vargas, do you need a translator?
Please.
Okay.
Yep.
Welcome to Language Line Solutions. Please enter your 6-digit client ID. For Spanish, press 1. For, please enter access code followed by the pound sign.
Thank you for calling the resolution. Is Adrian ID for 13300. I'll be Spanish interpreter today. This call modified your name, quality insurance purposes. How can I help you?
This is Judge Matt Rothy. I'm the municipal judge for City of Stoughton. Who am I speaking with today?
My name is Adrian.
Hi, Adrian. So you're willing to act as an interpreter for us today?
Yes.
Okay. Can you stand and raise your right hand?
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you truly interpret from the English language to the Spanish language and from the Spanish to the English language a true and accurate interpretation of what is said?
I swear.
Okay, thank you. So before us is Carlos Alexander Vargas Chavez. And Mr. Chavez is present in the courtroom, if you want to start translating.
Okay. Ok, bueno, primero que me presento, mi nombre es Adrián, yo soy su intérprete, señor Chávez, por motivo de tratamiento y calidad de servicio, está puede ser muy autorizada. Yo interpreto todo lo que diga y se mantiene confidencial. Y aquí entre nosotros está el señor Carlos Alexander Vargas Chávez. Ok.
Sí, estoy aquí.
He said, yes, I'm here. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Mr. Vargas, do I have your correct address, Kotkey Drive in Madison?
Ok, señor Vargas, tengo su dirección correcta, Catkey Drive, en Madison.
Sí, sí, correcto.
Yes.
You received a speeding citation.
Recibió una citación por exceso de velocidad.
Es correcto.
Correct.
It was for 20 to 24 over the limit.
Era de 20 a 24 sobre el límite.
Sí.
Yes.
This citation carries a penalty of 6 points and a forfeiture of $149.20.
Ok, y esa citación, perdón, esa citación cae con una penalidad de 6 puntos y una cuota de $149.
Es correcto. Sí.
Correct.
Okay. That is a $70 fine plus costs.
Es una multa de $70 más costo.
Ok.
The forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300.
Rango fortuito de esto es de $30 a $300.
You understand?
So,
¿Entiende?
so. No.
So right now, you're facing a $70 forfeiture plus costs. I can go up to 30, or I could go down to 30 or up to 300, depending on the facts and circumstances.
Ok, ahorita mismo está ante un rango de, perdón, un costo de comiso de $70. Se puede ir hacia arriba a $30 y puede bajar a 30. Entonces, de 30 o hasta 300, dependiendo de los hechos y circunstancias.
Ok.
Okay. I have a policy, I have a leeway that I give a 10-mile-an-hour break on these citations.
Ok, tengo una liberación de aquí que puedo dar hasta una liberación de 10 millas hora en esta citación.
Do you understand?
Perfecto.
Okay.
¿Entiende?
It's the same offer you would receive from the prosecutor.
Es la misma oferta que usted recibiría por el abogado,
Ok.
por el
Okay.
fiscal.
So instead of 20 over, I would reduce this to 11 to 19 over.
Ok, entonces en lugar de 20 sobre el límite, le reduciría esto de 11 a 19 sobre el límite.
Perfecto, ya.
Okay.
Gracias.
So instead of a 6 points, it will be a 4-point citation.
Entonces, en lugar de una citación de 6 puntos, sería una citación de 4 puntos.
Gracias.
Forfeiture stays the same at $149.20.
Decomiso aún sigue siendo el mismo, de 149,20 centavos.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions regarding this citation or the 10-mile-an-hour leeway?
Ok, ¿tiene alguna pregunta con respecto al arreglo de esta citación o a la cantidad de la diversión de
No,
10
sir.
millas
No,
hora?
that's okay. Thank you.
So now is the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Ok, es bueno, ahora es momento de dar su declaración. Tiene 3 opciones de declaración. Culpable, no culpable, o perdón, no alego.
A guilty.
Culpable.
Okay.
Guilty, yeah.
Guilty.
Okay. You understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. You understand that if you enter a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Ok, sí entiende que si usted cae bajo, perdón, se declara culpable, tengo que encontrarlo como culpable.
Claro.
Yeah.
Claro.
You can't change your mind after I've decided that you're guilty. You understand that?
No puede cambiar de pensar, obviamente, una vez que haya dicho que usted es culpable y que yo haya decidido que es culpable.
Oh, culpable, claro.
Okay.
Claro.
Let me review the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your guilty plea.
Ok, déjeme revisar el reporte policíaco para asegurarme que tengo todos los hechos para la declaración de culpable.
Is that okay?
¿Está bien?
Sí, sí. Yes.
I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea to 11 and 19 over. Since I've had a factual basis, I accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. I'll impose a forfeiture of $149.20 and 40 merit points issued your driver's license.
Ok, he revisado, perdón, he revisado el reporte policíaco y si encuentro que tiene los hechos hacia culpable, por lo que sería de 11 a 19 sobre el límite. Entonces, basado en los hechos, acepto su declaración de culpable. Va de un decomiso de $149.20, Florida, y 4 puntos puestos en su licencia de conducir.
Okay, okay.
How much time do you need to pay?
Right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you 30 days, but you can take the yellow piece of paper I give you and take it to the dispatch window downstairs and make payment.
Okay. Le voy a dar 30 días para hacer el pago, pero puede tomar el pedazo de papel amarillo, puede llevarlo a la ventana de despacho abajo.
The fifth floor? The fifth floor. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And
Yeah.
thank you, Mr. Interpreter, for translating for us. That will conclude our case for tonight.
Okay, have a good night.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Bye, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. That was 5, number 6. Denver Schaff. Did I say your name correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Schaaf, do I have your correct address on North Parkway in Stoughton?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you received 3 citations. The first one is speeding on a city highway 16 miles an hour over the limit. You understand the elements for speeding over 16 to 19 over?
Yes, sir.
All right. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 40 merit points issued your driver's license. That's a $50 fine plus costs. Forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway to this citation. So instead of 16 over, it'd be 1 to 9, which would be 3 points instead of 4. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions regarding the speeding citation?
No, sir.
All right. Two others. And one is called operating while under the influence of an intoxicant. So for an OWI, that's the shorthand abbreviated version of this. There's an OWI and PAC charges. So it's basically known in Wisconsin as drunk driving. You have 10 days from today's date. If you want to request a jury trial, you have to do so within 10 days. And what happens is it goes straight up to circuit court in Dane County, whereas you would actually then have a jury trial. If you don't file within 10 days, you lose your ability to have a jury trial. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
However, if you decide to have a trial in front of me, what happens is that I would make my ruling, and if you feel aggrieved by my decision, you'd be able to appeal my decision to Dane County Circuit Court. And you would actually have a brand new trial called a de novo trial. Now, you're allowed 2 trials under that scenario, but neither of them can be, if you have a trial in front of me, you essentially cannot have a jury trial at Dane County. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The law changed a couple years ago, so I want to always make sure that I advise defendants of their rights then. All right. Now, here's the penalties for an OWI. The forfeiture range on an OWI is $150 to $300. If you're found guilty, you have to attend a mandatory alcohol and drug assessment class. What happens is the cost of that assessment is $355. So it's added to that along with other fees. So essentially, the forfeiture range on this is about $700 to $1,050 is the total cost to you. You're at $961. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, the $961 is below the maximum. It's about in the middle of the forfeiture range as I've described it. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, like I said, that's the forfeiture aspect of it. Told you about the alcohol and drug assessment. If you're found guilty, there's also 6 demerit points issued to your driver's license as well. Okay. Forfeiture rate, 6 points. Now, your driver's license can be suspended for 6 to 9 months. The way, the length of the suspension, or actually, I said that wrong. Your license would be revoked 6 to 9 months if you're found guilty of that. And I base my forfeiture range on the following. If you're between a .08 and a .15, it's a 6-month driver's license revocation. If you're between a .15 and a .199, you're a 7-month driver's license revocation. If you're a .2 or higher, it's an 8-month driver's license revocation. And if there's any bad driving, like a car, there was a collision or any evidence of bad driving behavior, I increase that revocation by a month. Do you understand the driver's license revocation period?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now, in addition, if your blood alcohol content was 1.5 or higher, the state mandates that I have to order an interlock ignition device be installed on all vehicles registered in your name or all vehicles that you drive for a 12-month period. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what an IID device is? An interlock ignition device? It's a tube that you have to blow in order to start the car. So, it's a 1.5 or higher is what's mandated by state law. If I order an interlock ignition device be installed in your vehicle, I have to mandate that a $50 forfeiture surcharge be added to that. So it'd be $961 plus 50, so that would be total forfeiture of $1,011. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you understand the elements for operating motor vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So basically, that you're operating a motor vehicle under highways of Wisconsin or premises held up for the public use with while under the influence of intoxicants. So you said you understand that. Okay. Now, you received a companion citation called operating with a prohibited alcohol concentration. So that second citation carries the same penalties as the OWI. In other words, the $961 forfeiture, AODA requirements, 6 points issued your driver's license, and a 6 to 9 month driver's license revocation. Again, if you're above a .15, you have to order an interlock ignition device be installed on all vehicles registered either in your name or all vehicles that you drive for a period of a year. Now, that interlock ignition device starts when you order a product. In other words, if you're revoked, you get an occupational license. It starts when you get your occupational license. If you don't get an occupational license, it would start when you reinstate your driver's license, in 6 to 9 months later. Now, if you just go a year without driving a car, that doesn't work. So the DOT always mandates that you have to have it for 1 year period when you first order, when you either reinstate your driver's license or order an occupational license. You understand that as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, with the OWI and PAC, the forfeitures are identical. Now, I can find you guilty of both, but I can only impose penalties on one. In other words, the same set of penalties, but say for OWI. So the total forfeiture would be the $1,010. I can't double that to $2,000. So in other words, you have to be found not guilty of both in order. If you're found guilty of one, you basically have to suffer the penalties for that as well. I've thrown a lot of information on that. You understand the PAC ranges, the PAC penalties as well?
Yes.
Okay, so we've gone over the speeding, we've gone over the OWI and PAC. I've told you about the various ranges for that. You have any procedural questions for the court?
No, sir.
Okay. In addition, do you have a probationary license? Are you under 19?
It's probably.
Yeah.
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 So when you get your license a little bit after age 16, it goes 2 years and to the next birthday. So essentially, if you're 16 and 2 days when you get your driver's license, even when you get on 16, your probationary license always goes to your 19. Your point totals will double on your second and subsequent citations. So the point totals on the speeding citation would likely double. So you're aware of that then. All right. Any other questions? Did that explanation trigger any other questions? Okay. As you're shaking his head, no. So now is the time that I take your plea. Your 3 plea options would be guilty, no contest, or not guilty to the OWI, the prohibited alcohol concentration, the speeding citations.
Yeah, I'd like to plead not guilty, and I'd like to ask for a pretrial conference.
Okay, we will do that. We'll set up a pretrial conference with the city attorney on April 3rd. I will give you a notice in a minute for that. When you receive the pretrial conference notice, make sure that you call the prosecutor on that day. Because if you don't, the prosecutor will tell me that you didn't appear. I'll find you in default, and I'll find you guilty. And impose all those penalties as we discussed in all 3 citations. So when you receive that notice, the chance to tell your side of the story, so talk to the prosecutor about it. If you have any other witnesses or documents that might help your case, I'd encourage you to always bring that to pretrial conference or let the prosecutor be aware of that. A chance to tell your side of the story. If you can resolve it, it comes back to me for a resolution. If you can't resolve it, it comes back to me for a trial. So, all right, any questions for me?
No, sir.
All right, you'll receive the notice of the pretrial conference in just a minute. When you receive that, that will take care of it for this evening then.
Okay. Thank you.
Bryce Surgison? Mr. Surgison, do I have your correct address on Geeler Drive in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right, we received a citation for speeding 6019 over the limit. You understand what speeding 6019 over the limit is?
Yes, sir.
That carries a penalty of 4 demerit points and $124. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
That's $50 plus cost. The forfeiture range is $30 to $300. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
I have a 10-mile-an-hour leeway because that's the same offer you get from the prosecutor. So instead of 6019 over, they would be reduced to 1 to 9 over. 1 to 10 over, excuse me, for a 3-point violation instead of 4. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
Forfeiture stays the same at $124. Understand that?
Yes, sir.
Any questions for me?
Can I get an extension on the payment?
How much time would you need?
I just got a new job, but I haven't got paid for it yet. I've only
60
worked
days
2
be sufficient instead of 30?
Yeah, 60
Okay.
days, please.
All right. Duly noted. Any questions before you enter? Any other questions before you enter a plea?
Nope.
Now's the time I take your plea. Guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
No contest.
You understand with no contest plea, I must find you guilty?
Yes.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have factual basis for your plea. Okay, I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your no contest plea, and find you guilty. Impose a forfeiture of $124, and I'll grant 60 days to pay the fee of the forfeiture. If you need time, there's a number that you can call. You can always schedule a hearing to ask for more time if 60 days is not sufficient.
Okay.
All right, with that, that will take care of it this evening then.
All right,
Thank you for coming in. Forrest Burrington. Mr. Burrington, do I have your correct address on Sunnyside Street in Stoughton?
Yes, sir.
All right, you received a citation for disorderly conduct. That citation carries a penalty of $250. That is a $150 fine plus cost. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Forfeiture range on this is anywhere from $50 to $1,000. So you're at the lower end of the scale, but not quite at the minimum. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand what disorderly conduct is?
Yes, sir.
Do you want me to read the ordinance to you?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. There's no demerit points with that. I've told you about the forfeiture range and the elements. Now's the time I take your plea. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
No contest.
You understand with a no contest plea, I must find you guilty?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay, I read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your no contest plea, and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on a sentence?
No, sir.
Okay, I do find the $250 forfeiture to be appropriate, and I'll order that you pay that forfeiture. How much time do you need to pay?
30 days, please.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days to pay. I'll give you the form in just a minute. What'd you learn from this incident?
Probably breathing exercises to keep me calm.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, this could have been charged as a criminal case, and if you receive another citation, you could go up to Dane County, which would be a felony or misdemeanor instead of this case. So.
Yes, sir.
Okay. With no further questions, I'll take care of it for this evening then. Thank you. Jeffrey Hansen. Mr. Hanson, do I have your correct address on Lakeview Avenue in McFarland?
Yes, sir.
All right, you received 3 citations. The first is for operating after revocation or suspension of registration. That carries a penalty of $98.80 and 0 demerit points issued your driver's license. Do you understand what operating after revocation or suspension of registration?
Absolutely.
Okay. You don't need me to read the ordinance to you? So the forfeiture range on this is 0 to 2, I think it's 0, I'm not sure. I think it's 0 to something, but, so you're at $30 plus cost, you're gonna be at the low end of the scale. Yeah, 0 to $200. The second citation is for operating while suspended. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 3 demerit points issued to your driver's license. Again, this is 0 to $250 forfeiture range. Do you understand what operating while suspended is?
Yes.
All right. And the third citation is operating a motor vehicle without insurance. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 0 points. It's $50 plus costs, and again, this is 0 to $250. So, Mr. Hanson, as far as the registration, suspension, and insurance, sometimes I can resolve this if you've shown proof, but I can't, if they're operating while it's suspended, if you've updated your license, I really can't amend the citation. I'm not permitted to do so. So
Okay.
my suggestion would be that if you want to talk to the prosecutor and reach a resolution on all 3 citations, that you enter a not guilty plea and talk to the prosecutor about that. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll go ahead and enter a not guilty plea to those 3 citations. I'll give you the notice in just a minute. Make sure that you make the phone call on April 3rd.
Absolutely, and I do have proof of insurance now.
Show that to the prosecutor. I'm sure that he'll want
And
to take.
whatever needed to be taken care of
Yeah.
is taken care
Okay.
of. so.
Do you want to actually show those to the bailiff? Okay, I'll take a look at it. I'll note for the record that you did show me proof of insurance and that your car is now registered then, so.
So,
We'll give you that
thank
form in just a minute. Once you receive that, that will take care of it this evening.
wonderful, thank you. Am I done?
I'm sorry, you can say it there if you're okay.
So 443. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Your Honor.
D'Angelo Petaway? Mr. Petaway, do you have your correct address on Gammon Road in Madison?
Yes, sir.
All right. You received citation for operating while revoked as a forfeiture action. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 3 demerit points issued to your driver's license. Do you understand what operating while revoked is?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's a $50 fine plus cost. The forfeiture range on this is 0 to $250. You understand the forfeiture range as well?
Yes, sir.
And it's 3. You understand the 3 demerit points as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have a valid license?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, all right. So I talked to you about the points, the forfeiture action, and operating while revoked. Any procedural questions for the court?
No, sir.
All right, now's the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
No contest.
You understand with no contest plea, if there's a factual basis, I'll find you guilty. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your no contest plea and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on a sentence?
Well, when I got stopped, I had just been out of jail probably like 2 or 3 days prior, and I had to get like stuff for work. So it was kind of inconvenience for me,
Okay,
and I had just started working and stuff.
okay.
like
Do you need additional time to pay?
that. Yes, sir.
Oh, how much time do you need to pay?
60
Okay.
days.
Okay, I'll find the $124 to be appropriate. The 3 demerit points will be issued your license, and I'll grant you 60 days to pay instead. So
Thank you.
there's a number on the form. If you need additional time to pay, you can call that number and request a hearing to ask for more time.
Thank you.
So, all right, once you receive that, that'll take care of it for
All
this
right.
evening. Carrie Austin? Ms. Austin, do I have your correct address on Lorraine Way in McFarland?
Yes.
You've been cited for operating a motor vehicle without insurance. Penalty is $124 and 0 points issued driver's license. It's $50 fine plus cost. I'll note for the record, it looks like you brought some papers with that if you want to hand that to the bailiff. And I bet that this is proof that you have a you have insurance now.
Yes, I do.
Looks like you did that right after receiving a citation, is that correct?
What's that?
You updated your insurance right after you received the citation?
Oh, no, actually, it says I've had this insurance since 2016.
Oh, okay, so it was a mistake for whatever reason?
I just didn't have it with me.
Oh, okay. Since you didn't have it with you, under the statutes, I think if you provide proof, then that's a obvious valid defense. The court's goal is to make sure that people have proper insurance. Because you show me proof of that, the court on its own motion is going to dismiss the citation.
Thank you.
Hand you the dismissal, and once you receive that, that will take care of it for this evening then.
Great, thank you.
Okay, who's number, okay. Yeah. Peyton Danforth? Just a minute, Mr. Danforth, let me pull up your report. Mr. Danforth, do I have your correct address on Oakwood Court in Stoughton?
Yes, sir.
All right, you received 2 citations. One was speeding on a city highway, 1 to 10 over. Citation carries a penalty of $90.80 and 3 demerit points issued your driver's license. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's $30 plus cost. You're at the minimum forfeiture. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
And that's 3 demerit points issued your driver's license. Do you have a probationary license?
Yes, sir.
If this is your second or more citation, that 3-point citation would double to 6. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you also received a citation for operating a motor vehicle without proof of insurance. That citation carries a forfeiture of $10. Is the vehicle now have insurance?
Yes, sir. I have the photos of the insurance on my phone.
Okay. If you want to show your phone to the police officer, or bailiff, excuse me.
Yeah.
Thank you for providing me proof of that insurance. Again, since the court's goal is to make sure people's vehicles are insured, the court on its own motion would dismiss that citation for $10. So, as far as the speeding citation goes, I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway, and you're already at 1 to 10 over. Is this your first? How is your driving record?
It's pretty clean.
Pretty clean. Is this your first? Or is this your first citation?
Yeah.
Okay. So normally, I think the prosecutor would do this as well. So if it's 1 to 10 over, what I would reduce this to what's called defective speedometer. It's contrary to 347.41. It's a 2-point citation. Your defective speedometer wasn't working. The prosecutor would make the same offer. So instead of pleading guilty to, or no contest or guilty to 1 to 10 over, the court would amend this to defective speedometer, which is 2 points instead of 3, same forfeiture. This is normally I only see maybe 1 speeding citation for less than 1 to 10 over, maybe once a year. So this doesn't come up very much. So yeah, so instead of speeding 1 to 10, it'd be defective speedometer. You understand that amendment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What would your plea be to these defective speedometer?
No contest.
You understand with no contest plea, I must find you guilty?
Yes, sir.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. I read the plea, accept your guilty plea, or no contest plea, finding guilty of defective speedometer. That's 347.41. It's 2 points instead of 3. Same forfeiture of $90.80. How much time do you need to pay that?
I can pay it right away.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days. I'll give you what's called the disposition order. You can take that downstairs to the dispatch window and make payment on it right away. All right, thank you. All right, once you receive that, that will take care of it for this evening then. Abdullah Ahmedi? Oh, okay. You're Abdullah Ahmedi?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you are?
Agron Heda,
Are you related to?
his nephew.
Okay, and you're going to translate tonight?
Yeah, whatever he needs help with.
What language is this?
Albanian?
Do we have Albanian on the language line? We might have a language line as well. Okay, we don't have that on language line. So, first of all, if you want to just, do I have your correct address on Northern Drive in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You received a citation for speeding. It's 11 to 15 over the limit. Do you understand what speeding is?
Yep.
Okay. 11 to 15 over. There's three types of speeding. There's speeding 1 to 10 over, which is simple speeding. There's speeding 11 to 19 over, which is speeding intermediate. And there's speeding 20 plus over, which is speeding excessive. You're at the middle range of speeding intermediate.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you were to enter a not guilty plea and go to the prosecutor, they would automatically give 10-mile-an-hour leeway, and I do the same.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So instead of speeding 11 to 15, this would be reduced to 1 to 10 over.
Yes, sir.
It would be 3 points instead of 4.
Yes, sir.
Forfeiture was still the minimum $98.80.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now it's time to take your plea. What would your plea be to speeding 1 to 10 over? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Oh, not guilty? Okay, for not guilty plea, we'll schedule the matter for pretrial conference. I'll give you the information in just a minute. That will be on April 3rd. Make sure that you call the prosecutor, because if you don't, the prosecutor will tell me that you didn't call. I'll find you default, and I'll find you guilty then, and impose those penalties. And I would impose the penalties of the 11 to 15 over. So just make sure that you make that phone call.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you the form in just a minute. See if you can resolve it with the prosecutor. If you can resolve it, the prosecutor will report the results back to me. If you can't resolve it, then what occurs is that it comes back to me for a trial.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Once you receive that pre-trial conference notice, that will take care of it for this evening.
Thank you. All right.
Which number exactly? Oh, that one? Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Dirks, if you have a minute, let me default the rest of them, and I wrote an outline for a potential meeting then, so.
Oh, you have
Yep. We ready to default?
I'm ready.
Okay, sounds good. Humberto Aparicio Ramirez, a default judgment. Riley Aspen, a default judgment. Andrew Bodden is a bond forfeiture. Jasmine Brantmeyer is a default judgment. Jason Brunig is a bond forfeiture. David Brunel is a default judgment. Derek Campbell is a default judgment. Shuan Chen is a bond forfeiture on both citations. Connie Clausen is a default judgment. Lori Clayton is a default judgment. William Curtin is a default judgment. James Downing is a default judgment on both citations. Cale Drierson is a default judgment. Shanae Enox is a default judgment. Allison Fiskus is a bond forfeiture. Tabitha Frank is a bond forfeiture. Christopher Freeman is a default judgment. Tania Garces Gaitan is a default judgment on both citations. Samai Graham is a default judgment. Tania Gross is a bond forfeiture. Amber Gawanti is a default judgment of both citations. Demetrius Harding is a default judgment. Melvin Harrison is a default judgment on both citations. Melissa Hocking is a default judgment on both citations. Charisma Hodges is a default judgment. Martin Hole is a bond forfeiture. John Hopwood is a bond forfeiture. Ariana Howell is a default judgment. Valeria Jimenez is a default judgment of both citations. Wesley Jordan Buskager is a default judgment on both citations. Kevin Kemboy is a default judgment. Lee Kohler is a bond forfeiture. Yvonne Latore is a default judgment. Antonio Lee is a default judgment of both citations. James Link is a bond forfeiture. Jenna Lindsley is a bond forfeiture. Avery Lyons is a bond forfeiture. Lachlan Martin is a default judgment. Jack Mason is a default judgment. Janet Melvin is a default judgment. Gage Mickelson is a default judgment. Rakia Miles is a default judgment. Dax Mueller is a default judgment. Aaron Nash is a default judgment on both citations. Sharon Olson?
She sent a long letter, but basically
She updated?
Yeah.
Okay, because she provided proof of that, I'll go ahead. On court's motion, we'll dismiss the non-registration of auto. Randy Padfield is a bond forfeiture. Candace Paintner is a default judgment. Chad Paintner is a default judgment. Joseph Peck is a bond forfeiture. Jennifer Perkins is a default judgment on both citations. George Rawl is a bond forfeiture. Joshua Reeves is a default judgment on both citations. Jocelyn Rosales Espinosa is a default judgment. Daniel Rose is a default judgment. Andrew Schuler is a bond forfeiture. Kayla Schultz is a bond forfeiture. Jamie Schuyler is a bond forfeiture. Ferris Seeker is a bond forfeiture. Carol Scolas is a bond forfeiture. Dan Sweeney is a default judgment. Casey Swenson Adams is a default judgment, all three citations. Joel Thiessen is a default judgment of both citations. Eric Mingum is a default judgment. Tyson Vital is a default judgment on both citations. Tracy White is a default judgment. And Liam Z is a default judgment. Anything else?
Just to update you, I don't know if you want to conclude this so it's not on.
Sure. Nothing else pending right now. Thank you, everybody. Court is adjourned.